We move on to one of the greatest years of music history.
Yes, we do.
2002, a year in which I was 14 years old. I was starting my freshman year of high school. I believe Luke was 10.
Yes, I was.
Mike was 13. Alex, how old were you in 2002? 6?
4.
And we all know no one's a tastemaker more than a 4-year-old.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
So, as you know, we run down the years in music on this show, and I give you everything.
It's a slow walk down. It's not run down.
I give you everything that was, so you really get the essence of
It's a
the
big
year.
for
We're
Three
talking
Doors
about.
Down.
Who do we care about? Who do we care about here?
Linkin Park,
Linkin Park.
and Green Day. That's all we care about.
This is the only
Well,
thing
you're
we
in
care
luck.
about. Okay. You are in luck, everybody. So we are going to start this off in January. January 23rd, Virgin Records buys out Mariah Carey's contract for $28 million, essentially paying her not to make music anymore with the music label. So that happened at the beginning of the year. February 15th, U.S. singer Britney Spears takes her first starring role in the iconic film Crossroads. Remember that?
Blockbuster film, you mean?
Yes, Crossroads, a great touchstone in music culture. May 8th, Mariah Carey got a new music
Double
contract.
Mariah Carey. It's a double Mariah.
I just wanted to say the redemption was fast. She signed
Oh,
for Island
okay.
Def Jam like that.
Okay.
So
Good for
she
her.
was all good. She found a home. May 26th, the Eminem show was released, and white parents across America were horrified. June 11th, Paul McCartney marries his second wife, Heather Mills, and it ends sadly, and he loses a lot of money. So I wanted to put that in there.
Spoiler alert.
And the iconic American Idol premieres that day as well. So
2002.
Wow.
that is also of note that
Who
happened.
won season 1?
Kelly Clarkson.
I was going
baby.
to say, it's Kelly Clarkson, right?
Kelly Clarkson, June
Justin should have
20th.
won.
Britney Spears, 20 years of age, is ranked as Forbes' world's most powerful celebrity. So I wanted to point out that Britney Spears was the Kim Kardashian celebrity of
yeah.
the moment in
Yeah.
that way, and Forbes was like, she's that powerful.
She's 21.
Yeah, and the Who's John Entwistle died on June 27th of that year in the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas at the age of 57.
Wow.
Look up how he died if you're into that kind of thing. It was
Quick, get those leather pants off him and put him in a glass case.
it was a real rock and roll way to go. So there's that. July 23rd, My Chemical Romance released their first album. September 3rd, Napster is finally shut down for good. So that was a bummer. It got sold out and all that fun
Thanks
stuff.
a lot, Lars.
Thanks
Rest
a
in
lot.
peace.
September 4th, Kelly Clarkson did win American Idol.
Thank you.
You jumped my gun. October 30th, Jam Master Jay
killed.
was murdered. Rest in peace. So that was a bummer. But then on November 19th, we had Michael Jackson doing his iconic weird thing that happened that year where he held his child out the window.
Oh, that was that year,
That
huh?
was that year on
Blanket.
November
Where's
19th.
Blanket now?
Where is Blanket now? What's going on? Paris
Prince,
Jackson.
Prince Michael, too. He had 2 sons, both named Prince.
Yes. Oh, so
Oh, my God.
So I really wanted to add that in because I feel like this was music culture at this moment was it was so strange. It was such
What
a
a
strange
year.
moment.
What a year.
And then December 22nd, back to the bummers, Joe Strummer passed away. So that was your year in
I thought we had
2002.
Linkin Park news.
You have no
No.
Linkin Park news.
Oh.
No Aerosmith news.
No Aerosmith news. No Linkin Park news.
No Green Day news.
Sad.
Bummer,
This was an
guys.
L.
This was an L for your music rundown.
Well, what
okay.
can you
Top 10 best-selling albums that year
Oh.
Let's hit it.
in the United States.
10-1.
Yep, here we
Okay.
go. We have Misunderstood with a Z by Pink.
Pink. Yeah.
We have Home by the Dixie Chicks at number 9. Number 8, 8701 by,
Usher.
there you go. Number 7 is A New Day Has Come by Celine Dion. Number 6 is Silver Side Up
Oh.
by your boys Nickelback. There you
Let's
go.
go.
Number 5 is Laundry Service by the iconic Shakira. Number 4 is Britney by Britney Spears.
It's Britney, bitch.
Number 3 is Let Go by Avril Lavigne, very much of the time. Nellyville is number 2 by Nelly. And then number 1 is best-selling album of the year.
2002.
It's very obvious, guys. It's the Eminem Show
Oh,
by
sure.
Eminem.
Yeah.
That probably sold 1 million in the first week. And all
Yes,
that
he
kind
really,
of stuff.
he really killed
Wow.
it that year. And then this is the Billboard end of the year top 10 songs of
Okay.
the year. 10-1. We have "Blurry" by Puddle of Mud.
It holds up actually for that era.
No, it doesn't. I
that's
hear it
the
on
only
the
song
radio
of that
all
era
the
that
time.
holds
Jeff,
up.
let the record show that Jeff is sticking up for Puddle of Mud.
Listen,
and yet
guys.
he taunts me for liking Nickelback.
I hear it on the radio all the time. Doesn't hold up. Does not hold up.
I don't know. Can you take it all away? Out of those songs, it
It's
holds
better
up.
than "Stained." I'll say
Yeah.
that. I'll say that. Oh, jeez. Contention right off the bat. Here we go. Number 9, "You Got It Bad" by Usher.
Yeah.
Great song. Number 8 is "What Is Love" with a V by Fat Joe and Ashanti.
Oh, yeah.
Great
L-U-V.
tune. In the
Yeah.
End
Oh,
by Linkin Park
Oh,
is
they-
rounds out number
See, they
7.
at least
holding on from 2001.
Yeah.
Big hit.
Big
Long life.
That one plays on the radio all the
Yeah.
time.
As it should.
Kind of
It
holds
really
up a little
didn't
bit.
matter though.
No, it didn't. In the end.
In the end, yeah.
Number 6, "1,000 Miles" by Vanessa
Oh.
Carlson. Somebody get her out of that truck bed. She's still driving down the street. Number 5 is "Wherever You Will Go" by The Calling. Do you guys even know this song?
I do know that song.
I don't know.
Can you
that
give me a
song.
chorus? Do you know it? Yeah, nope. You're like, I
it.
know the song.
The Calling
in theory.
had 2 or 3 songs. I can't remember which is which.
Oh, number 4 is "Dilemma" by Nelly featuring Kelly Rowland.
Oh yeah, right.
3 is "Hot in Here" by
Oh,
Nelly.
sure.
Nelly was killing this year.
I'm surprised that
Yeah.
wasn't one.
Number 2 is "Foolish" by Ashanti.
Shanti. Big
And
year
number
for
1
Shanti.
is "This Is How You Remind Me" by Nickelback. That was
we
your
come out on top.
that was
That's
your
it, baby.
Billboard top 10
Let's go, Nickelback.
of the year. That was your rundown of 2002,
Wow,
guys.
what a year.
Man, a year for the books. Ugh.
And throw that book right in the garbage.
So
Right in the shredder.
we've gone through
let's
it.
talk about our favorite albums from that year.
Yes.
Alex, can you start us off?
Yeah.
2002, 4-year-old Alex. What were you what were you listening to?
So my favorite theme song back then was Sesame. No.
Arthur.
Oh yeah. Actually, I
When
think
you're walking down
I
the
think
street.
I
Gullah
was
Gullah
watching a lot of,
Island was a hot hit.
a lot of
Binya Binya,
Caillou back
Polly
then.
Oh,
Ca-
Caillou.
oh, I
Oh
hate
yeah, you were a
Caillou.
Caillou kid.
Caillou.
I was a
Yeah,
big
Alex was a
Caillou
Caillou kid. Blues Clues kid.
Oh hell yeah.
Heavy Blues Clues.
Only the OG Steve though.
Yeah,
New
I
Steve
know.
mids.
Yeah, new Steve Smith. His name wasn't even Steve. It was like Al or something. I don't know.
Al. He's a 60-year-old man.
I know his name. It's Joe.
Steve's
He's like, this dog isn't
Steve's
even-
uncle.
It's
I saw the
definitely-
dog the whole
The
time. I
dog's
thought
just chained out outside. Chained up outside.
Blue has
Hey,
rabies.
get the fuck in here.
Oh man.
Alex, what do you got for 2002?
2002. I was on a toss up between 2 albums. I'll
Okay.
go with my main pick.
Go with your
Was-
heart.
Probably the Black Keys, The Big Come Up, their first
Mhm.
studio album or debut studio album.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Black Keys, they're more blues rock, punk blues type genre. Mikey showed me this album, and this was right when I actually got into vinyl collecting.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
got this album from Mystic Discs. I
Yeah.
remember listening to it on repeat, and now it plays like garbage for me because I played it on my very cheap turntable and ruined the record.
Yeah.
Time to buy a new copy.
Yep. So it's definitely time to buy a new copy, but it has a really interesting cover of "She Said" by the Beatles on it.
Yep.
Which is
Oh yeah.
okay. It's
Oh,
not-
I like it. It's pretty groovy. It's like a fuzzy, groovy,
Yeah.
thrashed out like garage cover. I dig.
yeah,
Yeah.
not bad, but that's like one of the really notable tracks on that a lot of people took to.
Mhm.
My second choice was by a band that a little more underground. That's Thievery Corporation,
Oh,
The
sure.
Richest Man in Babylon.
Yeah, it's a great record.
About 4 songs in the album I really, really appreciate, but the rest of the album I'm not really too fond of. I was shown this band by our cousin Peter, who lives in New York, when we
Mhm.
were listening to a lot of Euro lounge. It's very Greek, just loungy style of music. And that's why I really appreciate that album, but it didn't make my top because I didn't know the full album in its entirety.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
it's
Right
really
on.
notable for me.
Yeah.
Luke, you want to go next?
Oh yes, I will go next. Okay, so
was trying to think
I
what he was gonna pick.
chose.
Lacuna Coil.
No,
Obviously.
you wish. I did buy that Lacuna Coil CD in 2002, but that is not what I'm going with. I am going to go with Tell All Your Friends by Taking Back Sunday.
Oh.
So
Debut album.
yes, the debut album by Taking Back
Wow.
Sunday. This record was really, really big for me when I was in high school. So not when it came out, but when it like came back around,
Yeah.
I really, really, really got into this record. This is where you, I guess, start off with Taking Back Sunday. It has a bunch of really, really classic songs, and this was like the era of Fuse, and the music videos would play, and this has one of the most classic music videos of like my high school era I can think of, with You're So Last Summer, which has
Wow.
the band playing with Flavor Flav, and Flavor Flav is mouthing all of these like super emo lyrics. Oh my God, you've never seen this music
No.
video?
I would have never guessed that would have been a music video song from this album.
So this is why I chose this, because this is for me like the quintessential emo record, and I'm talking like emo. I'm talking like the bangs in front of the face, the
Right.
scene kid emo. This
the
is
New
like
Jersey emo.
this is
yeah.
where this came from, and this band like had this music video, and they're dressed. And they have like the style and the tight, the girl jeans, and they're wearing the shirts. And Flavor Flav comes out, and he's like doing like all the emo lyrics, like she said, "Duh," and he's doing it so perfectly.
Oh my
It's so
gosh.
funny. It's one of the best music videos of all time, and really fits like that culture really, really well. It's like early internet, and this album is recorded super raw, and because they didn't have, I don't think they had a lot of money at the time. And it just comes off really, really, really well in the way, in the execution, really like childish but heartfelt in a lot of like good ways. The screaming back and forth vocals throughout the whole album, like the "I'm saying this and I know the God's here," that was born on this album in its entirety. They're watching the music video right now. It's
lips to his collar, don't bother Rachel.
Oh.
I know exactly what goes on.
Thank you. That's cut from the Team on here. Cute without
Cute
the
without
E.
the E.
So again, another classic. So I'd say like two essential emo songs on this album, and then some deeper cuts. Bike Scene, the album opener, You Know How I Do. Great romance of the 20th century. And my all-time favorite on this album with the jazzy-ass chords, Timberwolves at New Jersey. One of my favorite songs of all of the time in this era. So I have been highlighting emo records kind of in the slot, and records I do enjoy, whether they are like hold up or not later. It's a bit like high schooly childish, but I like it in a way, and it still holds up for me. What's up, Alex?
I had money on you either choosing Sonic Youth's album from 2002 or Bright Eyes album from
Yeah.
2002.
I
Lifted or your ear to
I
the soil.
Yeah.
Or whatever
do
it's called.
love Lifted, and I really get into it, and I was super into it. I mean, I have a Bright Eyes tattoo, but this record for me is like
Better.
it's the more influential record. I feel like this record
Cool.
formed a 150 million bands, like so many
Yeah.
emo bands formed because
And
of
this was
record.
this was the debut, and this was before the band kind of fractured.
Yes, after
Sean
this-
Nolan, was he the co-songwriter and guitarist, and then he left because there was like he's maybe slept with the lead singers.
Oh, I do not know.
I don't know, or
I don't
someone
know
slept with
all the
someone's sister
drama.
or girlfriend, and then he formed Straight Light Run and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
blah.
and after this record, Fred comes
think that's
in,
what it was.
and
Yeah.
they do Louder Now and
Right.
Where You Want to Be after that, and become a like kind
Where
of
You
like a
Wanna
little
Be is-
MTV band. But this is like the birth of it. Super like not click track emo.
Have you listened to this in a while?
Oh hell yeah, I listened to it last night.
Wow. Yo, it has that digital on all the guitars. You
Oh,
could,
yeah.
you could hear the bad like early days of MP3s.
It's a rough listen,
But it is what it is.
But it is what it
Yeah.
is. It's like it's a thing of the time, and it's that force that made like what
Yeah.
now sells out like all these like emo nights and stuff. And it was born in these guys doing really hard work, being a rock and roll band and making a kind of new formish of music that
yeah,
really
this is
went
one
off.
of the ones for emo music in the
Yeah.
in this whatever wave of emo you want to consider that third wave or whatever.
The record I really think is awesome too
Honorable
is
mention.
2002 is Hot Rod Circuit's Sorry About Tomorrow. I have talked about Hot Rod Circuit in this segment slot before, so I wanted to highlight another band in the genre, but that record is also solidly one of my favorites. So
Right on. There
There
you
you go.
have it. All right. Well, mine is it was a toss up between two.
Don't be a
but
coward.
The
Don't be a coward.
No. But the one that I'm selecting because I had two selections, and I'm like, I'm gonna go with this one. For me, released in 2002,
Come on.
obviously, Kill Switch,
Oh,
Engage,
okay.
Alive, or just I wasn't gonna do the Eminem show.
No, I thought you were gonna pick the self-titled Audio Slave album.
Oh, I saw that on there. I almost did.
Is that the one with Cochise on it, or is that the second
That's
one?
the opener.
Yeah. No, I did see that was on there though. I definitely own that record. I bought that CD. But no, I'm gonna
Alive or
go.
Just Breathing.
I'm gonna go Kill Switch Engage. Alive or Just
Second
Breathing.
album.
It's the second album. The first one is like a self-titled sort of EP on Ferret Records. I mean, you can count it, but I kind of like. For me, it's like this is the album where like Kill Switch Engage arrives. It's with the original lead singer Jesse Leach, who would go on to be replaced by Howard Jones, and then Jesse ends up coming back quite a few years back, and he's been with the band ever since. But similar to kind of like what Luke was saying, for me, you listen, because I re-listened to this Kill Switch record, and I think it still holds up, man. I mean, it's an incredible record, and you know, the End of Heartache was kind of my introduction to Kill Switch Engage. But I remember being in high school and seeing a bunch of people wearing like Kill Switch T-shirts and being like, maybe that's a band that I should listen to, you know. And I had already listened to like The Shadows Falls and The Unearths and stuff like that, Lamb of God. So I was like, let me get to Kill Switch, and I did, and I was pleasantly surprised. Like kind of like what Luke was saying, kind of with his pick. You know, for me, I think that this is a band that kind of gives you what we have today with like the Volbeats and the Five Finger Death Punches. You know, it's that sort of melding between like the early metalcore sound from like your Hatebreeds and your Converges, and then incorporating some of that sort of Scandinavian sort of melodic metal and merging those two things into one. So you do have this sort of like brutal, breakdowny, chuggy, thrashy kind of thing going on, but the super marketable and melodic and singing songy kind of choruses on everything. And you know, for some people, you know, I guess, you know, a lot of people would be like, nah, man, I'm not into the singing with the metal thing because like it should be screaming, like the purists and stuff like that. I completely disagree. I think the trajectory, I think what ended up coming from that, like, as people know me, I'm not really like a huge Five Finger Death Punch kind of guy, like, or any, you know, like those types of bands. And, you know, but this is really where I feel like it started. Around that time, you had Atreyu, you had Bleeding Through, you had Shadows Fall, which was my other album that I was going to pick. The Art of Balance came out that year as well. Between the Buried and Me's first album came out this year. There were a couple albums before this, but for me, this is like that landmark album where everything turns and every band starts kind of sounding kind of like Kill Switch Engage. I like this one because it's a little bit rougher on the edges. Jesse's screaming and singing is a little bit harsher. It's not as nice to listen to as Howard's, where I think a lot of people prefer.
I like it more though.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like people like Howard because Howard is very like singing from the belly. It's this very operatic thing, you know. But I like Jesse. I love the way that he sings. You know, notable songs on the album. I mean, Self Revolution, Fixation on the Darkness. That goes on to be re-recorded with Howard anyway later. My Last Serenade is amazing. Just Barely Breathing is great. You know, it's kind of like the beginning of when you get these songs where there's this sort of like, okay, the song's starting and it's like kind of building a little bit of a thing, you know, and then you get this like great riffy sort of line, and then there's a breakdown underneath the riff, and it's just great. It's just great. So chugging breakdowns overlaid, yeah, it's just it's a fantastic record, man. I
The
love
first
this
metal
record.
record I got into.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just incredible, man, and it really did. Like Kill Switch, not so much this record, but The End of Heartache. But this band as a whole, man, like this sound, I think influenced pretty much all the metalcore that we have today. So like if you're listening to like a new Trivium song or something like that, I think that Kill Switch can kind of be credited as to why that sounds the way that it does. They were one of the first bands that had like that crazy pristine production on everything. You know, that crazy Mesa Boogie dual rectifier sound and all that stuff. So yeah, that's mine, man. Kill Switch Engage.
Right on.
Alive or Just Breathing.
Cool. My pick for 2002 is an album that I did not buy until at least late 2003, if not early 2004. And nobody else on the planet bought this when it came out in 2002. And that's the album Songs About Jane by Maroon 5.
Oh, yeah.
Which did come out in, I think, summer of 2002 and then hit the top 10 on the charts almost 2.5 years later. Like a very slow burner. Singles released for this album like a year and a half into it. I love this album. I went back to it. It still holds up. Maroon 5 is now this like huge band. But for me, this is like the only album where they sound like a band and not like a bunch of things that are backing up the lead singer. I just think this is such a solid album. It has the hits: "She Will Be Loved," "Harder to Breathe," "This Love." But some of my favorite songs are the other tracks like "Shiver" and "The Sun." "Sunday Morning" is a great like jazz.
Oh,
type of
Sunday
thing.
morning.
Yeah. This is just like, it's one of those bands that when this came out, it was so much like a group of white guys that loved Stevie Wonder, that also like loved kind of the Cars new wave type of sound. You can hear that kind of thing melded together. I think Adam Levine probably sounds the best to me on this album before it got like all double, triple, quadruple track, like falsetto type of stuff. He just sounds a little bit more like live in the room and like single kind of passes of all the vocal things. Yeah, just a great debut album.
What a crazy turn for a band. Everybody, this was like when this got like big. I feel like John Mayer was also kind of like up on the up and ups.
That's how they got big.
Right.
They were his opener for like a year and a half.
Okay, so
Yeah.
marketed like the same,
Yeah.
and I think everybody kind of thought this band was gonna be like, oh wow, and then like, but you have this one kind of great album that is really reminiscent of what that time was and what
Mm-hmm.
music sounded like. Like that was pop music on the radio. Like that was
Yeah.
a modern rock band. I like that record. I
Yeah.
like you were naming all the songs. I was like, yeah, like "Come to My Window Now." That song's a
Yeah.
great song. It's like it fits in. It's just like Maroon 5 for me has that like after stink on it where it's hard for me to like
Right.
even like get on it. But
Right.
like bold choice, man. Bold choice. I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
just it's such a good record, and it's. I mean, I'm not gonna look at the figures right now, but I think it's like 11 tracks maybe, and it's just like
we have it on
every
vinyl.
song is so
I was just gonna say that.
just
yeah.
like boom, boom, boom. Yeah, and it's just that like a true pop rock band album where it sounds like, oh, this is a band playing funky pop rock music. It doesn't have all this like studio trickery. It doesn't sound like just a production team and all these like drum machines and stuff like that. Stuff I do love, but I like to hear a band just like play as a band.
It's kind of like the last of like the 90s kind of styled like production band, like
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
making records like that. So interesting, man. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I didn't. I have like I heard a bit of this record, but when Jade and I first got together, she had it on vinyl, and I'm like, you know what?
Oh,
let me
really?
just spin this, and I spun. I was like, oh my god, I think I like Maroon 5, because at that time
yeah.
I was like, I'm like Adam Levine, you know,
Right.
like the kind of thing about it. And then I listened back to it, I was like, shit, this is a great record.
I know I remember like half of it in my head right now, which means it's memorable at that. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
solid,
it's so
man.
it's so hooky. I don't know if it's a closer, but it's a song that was kind of like, I think it actually was recorded live and then some overdubs put on it, but it's called "Not Coming Home," which is just this like rip roaring, like heavy, thick, funky rock song. So songs about Jane, love it. Some honorable mentions that didn't make the cut, but I do love as well. Coldplay's second album, "Rush of Blood to the Head." Beck's slow, like kind of spacey, almost country folk album, "Sea Change," which is like a big breakup, heartbreak, redemption, whatever type of album. Very beautiful album. Technically released in 2001, but physical release in 2002. "Yankee Hotel Foxtrot" by Wilco. They leaked their stuff and put it online at the end of 2001, but physical copies came out in 2002. And "Songs for the Deaf" by Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh, yeah.
With the big hit "No One Knows," Dave Grohl playing drums on the whole thing, and just a pummeling great
Fantastic
hard rock
record,
band
yeah.
and like album. And that was, I think, their third album maybe, and it just like kicked them into another level of popularity and all that.
Third album rule.
Yeah, that's it. So
Do you have any shout outs real fast?
I mean, the Eminem Show was probably the only one. Oh, also the 8 Mile soundtrack, which was a CD that I did in fact own. I listened to that a whole lot. That came out in 2002 as well.
I'm gonna the CDs we owned or bought. Weezer's Mail Detroit, which is under Jeff's
It's being used as a coaster now,
right
as
now.
it should be.
One of the first CDs I ever bought. Avril Lavigne's "Let Go" was definitely in our household. Foo Fighters, "One by One," a record I really think is like a strong Foo Fighters record. If I go back and listen
Another
to it,
third album.
I really, really like that record. I think it's a strong record. Album art by Raymond Pettibone, too, by the way. "Come Away With Me" by Nora Jones. 2002, one of the best-selling album. I think the best-selling album of the year and one of the best-selling albums of all time. We definitely had that in our house. We were talking about that Bright Eyes record. Johnny Cash's.
Oh, yeah.
When the
Four?
Man Comes Around.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Definitely was in my household and definitely got played in 2002. Jeff, just wanted you to know that Linkin Park released Reanimation, the
Thank
remix
you.
album.
A classic.
Boxcar Racer, the band with Tom DeLonge and Travis
Oh,
Barker.
classic.
I love this record, and it was in our house. Good Charlottes, The Young and the Hopeless was definitely in our house.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Vines, Highly Evolved, in Lacuna Coils. I don't even know what the name of this album is, but that Lacuna Coil album from
Coil
2002, I definitely bought that. We had it. So those are all the albums I was like into in
boy.
2002 and actively listening to for
Yeah.
everyone at home.
Well, there you have it, folks. 2002, a year to remember. Did we miss anything? What's your favorite record from 2002? Let us know in the comments below. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to hit you with our new album review of the week. We'll be right back.